In this part, we'll discuss about class and objects in Python. So many of other YouTubers or different other people try to compare class with the manufacturing industry and blueprint and all the stuff. But I'll try to compare it with a printing press. So here is the actual template, which can be called as a class, which is once made is made. Now if you want to use this printing press template onto a paper, right, so this paper is like an object. So how many objects you want, you can create from this press, right? All these objects will have, for example, if you take Sudoku, so all these papers will have Sudoku. In that Sudoku you need to fill it with numbers. So all these papers or objects, in each object instance or in each paper, you can have Sudokus, which are the functions. If you can take in that functions, so many other people will fill with different numbers and different place they will have, so they can fill with any of those strategies they want inside the Sudoku, right? So class is this main print or main prototype, and that which will print on a paper. That paper is single paper is an object. On that objects there will be Sudoku or so many other type of games which are free or which are empty, and you will try to fill it with different values. Those values are the instances of the objects that you fill, or the values of the instances of the objects that you fill with. Okay, so maybe I'll just go to the next slide. So it's a definition in Python. So in Python, a class is a blueprint or a template for creating objects. So template is the printing press what I've shown, and creating objects is nothing but the papers what we regularly read, and it defines a set of attributes, data members, and methods. That Sudoku what I've taken it as an example, that the objects created from the class will have. So objects are instances of class, and they can encapsulate data and behavior related to specific concept or entity. So that can be explained in the further slides. What are the data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism? All these are OOPs or object-oriented principles of any programming language. So I'll try to create a definition or an example, so which suits best for all these OOPs principles as well as basic class and object definition also. So you can see this is a class definition in the class called bank account. So there is this define init. So define init is an method which will be called, or the function which is called, or a constructor. This is called a constructor, which will be called immediately when any instance of object is created. So if you create any instance of object, automatically this constructor will be called, right, by default. But these other definitions which are present, or other functions which are present, need to be called explicitly. Okay, so maybe I'll just copy paste this one. Or to save time in typing down, so I'm just copy pasting. And if you, I'll just explain the stuff. Another part is this one. For this specific thing, I'll copy paste, but for polymorphism, encapsulation, I'll just modify these things by typing it down. Okay. So now, if you take, this is a class with a bank account, and this is a constructor which will be called whenever you try to create an instance of an object, right? So instance of an object, here you can see bank account with these as an inputs to the object instance. The instance is account1. This is one object what it is being called with these as an input. So these will be an 1 2 3 4 that you try to fill in a Sudoku, right? That is given, these numbers are given. So and you will be calling this instance account1 with these as a numbers. Automatically this class which is present, default method or default constructor, this will be called out. So here the self variable, I'll explain what is self, and the account number, account holder, and the balance is equals to 0, right? So this is explicitly mentioned, it is equals to 0, but these are not present. These values will be come from these definitions. Okay, so this will come from this definition, and you are trying to initialize or create a new variable which is only valid in this class, that is self dot account number. So the account underscore number value will be going into the self dot account number. This is like another variable. It's account number 1, right? Instead of account number 1, it is mentioned dot self dot account number, so that we can use the same old name, right? That's the reason why we are using self dot account number. It indicates this is a variable which is confined to this class. Similarly, account underscore holder, which is self dot account holder. Self says that it belongs to this particular class. That is the definition of the self, right? And self dot balance. Balance is obviously 0, so it will be also assigned to self dot balance, which is a confined variable in this scope, and is also equals to 0, right? Now everything is fine. This is being created with that one, and now you have this self dot account number as 12345 and account holder name as Alice, right? So this is the account number, and that is the so you can see here these are attributes. On the attribute we are trying to print that account numbers, account names and functions, all those comes under attributes, pseudocode what I have said, but those values are the 1 2 3 what you enter in the pseudocode kind of functions, right? So now account 1 dot account number. So if you try to print this, you'll be getting 1 2 3 4 5. You can just check it on. Now you can also call a method. You can just hide this, which is also another attribute, deposit, and you are trying to enter 500. So this goes to this particular function. Self is again what I've said previously. The amount will be going into 500. If 500 greater than 0, self dot balance will be equals to amount plus self dot balance. So self dot balance is initially 0 plus 500. So 500 plus 0, 500 will assign to the self dot balance, and you are trying to return a statement that is 500 deposited 500. F is called formatted function. F is called formatted function, in which you can say deposited is 500 rupees and new balance is self dot balance. So obviously it is 500, right? If it doesn't, I mean amount is less than 0, then it will show invalid deposit amount. Okay, so when this is called, you can just verify. This is the thing what is been printed, because you are trying to return this statement. The entire statement will come and sit here in this thing. So it automatically prints deposited $500, new balance $500. Okay, I think hope you understood.